All right, so we're in period 4 for AP World History. This is 1450 to 1750. And I'm going to show you all about key concept 4.2 and really zoom in on the things you need to know in order to pass this exam. So this is all about class and race and how those two social constructs were really affected by the growth of the global economy. So let's jump on in. So I'm Amanda, and this is High Level History, and I'm giving you engaging content to really kill it on your AP World History exam. So, be sure to subscribe so that you can, be notified when I post new videos to help you pass this exam, and hit the like button if you appreciate this content and it's helpful for you. So, and then second, starting some AP World review parties, and we're going to online work together to really pass this exam. So if you want more information about that, click the link in the description below. So I'm jumping on over to my slides. So let's get into 4.2. All right, let's look at class and race in the early modern period. So, in 4.1, we talked more about the global economy and globalization. That was all about trade mostly. And this key concept, we're going to really focus in on society, and especially like how the expansion of trade had an effect on class and race. So make sure to stay tuned to the end. I'm going to really point out 3 key terms that are like must knows for this time period that, those are the ones that are going to end up in your essays. So one point of context here is what's called the Little Ice Age. It's called little because it's not as big as some of the other ice ages have been. But this is a really interesting point of context because it's going to have an effect on our social organizations and modes of production, because it changes how we produce agriculture. So the climate changes, it gets cold, we can't really produce agriculture in the same way that we always did. And so there has to be a shift in how we do that. And that is something that's going on in this time. It actually starts before this time period and ends after, but this is a point of like continuity and in terms of context in this time period. So as the global demand for goods increased, so we talked about that in the last video, we really are going to see new labor systems, right? So we can't, just because there's some food that is being transferred and traded from the new world to the old world doesn't mean that people are going to like eat a banana once and be like, all right, I'm good, I don't need any more. No, there's a demand for it. They want more of those things. Some of the goods like tobacco are literally addictive, but other things are not as much. So like people want these things. They're, you have chocolate for the first time, you're going to want more. So in terms of labor systems, people had to find a way to make more goods. And unfortunately, this is where we're really going to start to see, not start in terms of human history, but we're going to see an increase of coerced labor. So that means that people are not working because they get a good job and are paid for it. They're working because they're either being forced to do it or they're like economically forced. They really don't have any other choice. So a couple of examples of this would be the Spanish using the encomienda system to mine silver. A lot of natives are going to die in those silver mines, even though, the silver trade is booming, but at what cost to the native lives there. The encomienda and the hacienda system, this is where there was like a trade for labor in exchange for religious or language education. Indentured servitude is also kind of an exchange where you would get help getting to another place, like maybe you're going to the Americas and then you're going to work for about 7 years to pay off that debt. And then a final example would be chattel slavery. And this is where people literally were like considered properties. This is your Atlantic slave trade. So this, the Middle Passage, for example, you can see in this picture, like those are humans. Like don't overlook this picture. This is absolutely insane. Where they were stacking in humans. It just for them it was like how many humans can we fit in this boat because each human equals money, right? And a lot of people are going to die in this entire system. This is going to devastate a lot of people's lives and create pretty severe generational trauma that we still see every day today. So chattel slavery is something that we're going to start to see in this time period. As people are being exploited, there are others that are always going to benefit from that. So something that you can ask yourself when you're studying any time period in history is like, who's benefiting and who's being exploited, right? Who are the winners and losers of each time period, of each decision, of each event? Because there's always going to be someone that comes out on top and someone that comes out not so much. So while we have the coerced labor, we also see new elites that are profiting off of those labor systems. So, for example, the Manchus or the Creoles are new groups of elites that are coming into play in this time period. But there were also existing groups like the European nobles, the Daimyo in Japan, right? So here's like three examples of elites in this time. And so you can kind of look, what do they have in common? Well, they are all wearing pretty lavish clothing, right? Um, the fact that they even have images of them, they have paintings of them, says a lot. They have the money to do that. They're all male, right? So like you can pull out a lot of like information about what did the elites of this time period look like in terms of just looking at kind of pictures like this. They also, I guess, apparently wear silly hats. I don't know. So religion and politics is a big piece here, as well as like just a combination of the two. There are innovations in the arts. You get the Renaissance. You have woodblock printing and kabuki. Here are some examples. Kabuki theater is sort of showcasing Japanese culture through theater. And then woodblock printing. This is actually a version of woodblock printing that's modern. This was showing Star Wars, so obviously that wasn't made in the early modern period. But this is under the same style of woodblock printing. So just like I had kind of mentioned in 4.1, when things are going well, when an empire is doing well, they have time to invest in the arts, and that is happening in this time period. So a couple of the different social changes as well. The European men of this time period are really going to start depending more and more on Southeast Asian women and merchants, and the reasons for that have to do with the trading systems in the area and what the merchants in Southeast Asia did, and how that basically made the lives of European merchants easier. And then additionally, the small families of Europe. So it's not like before this time period where you're working on a farm, you have to have a big family. These people clearly have money. The fact that they're wearing those like weird turtlenecks show that they have money, and they don't have to have as many children. They can have smaller family sizes. So that is a big change in this time period, this social change. And then finally, we're going to really see new racial groups appear. And this is because of the like blending together of different racial groups. So again, keep in mind, race, total social construct. It's not an actual like thing, right? It's not something that isn't actually important. But at the time, it was, and so now it is still important. And we see, the institution of racism exists today because of these decisions. So you have different groups of people. So, for example, the Europeans who would mix with native groups, that would produce this mestizo group. Europeans with Africans, with the black population, would produce a mulatto person. Spanish born person in the Americas would be Creole. And so you really have, you have this system where you can see it on this like casta here, where the lighter skinned you were, the more power you had. And, there was, it was, essentially like in the southern portion of the Americas, it was actually part of their development to blend the races in order to whiten them. So the idea was that if you have two like black people, for example, that have a child, the child's going to be black, but if you have a black and a white, the child is going to be less black. So this is really just like almost like hard to talk about because it is like it's just like this is real. But that was a process that happened in the southern portion of the Americas and the Caribbean, whereas in North America, it was less about blending the races and more about segregating them. So, this would not have been a popular like move. You don't see as many mixed race, children in this time period in North America because it was not allowed to mix the races. Whereas in the southern portion of the Americas, it was encouraged to mix races. So this is your period 4 key concept 4.2. This is everything you need to know. You can pause it here and take notes. I'm just gonna like actually just show you 3 key terms. So if I'll just bold them for you. Coerced labor. That's a huge umbrella term. I know there's a bunch of different key terms under that, but if you know and fully understand coerced labor, that is a really good topic for comparison essay, for a DBQ, right? Like really understand what that means and what that looks like. Second is this, I just picked one group of elites. So, pick one and really understand who these people are, how they gained power, and what they did with that power. And then finally, I just also added like the word casta, right? This is this like process, this mixing of races and the hierarchy that was created because of that. So if you like really pinpoint those three words and know them, then you're going to be in a good spot for the exam. So I'm headed over to Key Concept 4.3. Before you go, drop in the comments if you think another key term is even more important to know. If you think I missed something, or you just really want to like pinpoint another key term, is like, man, if you know this word, you're golden. Drop it in the comments. Or if there's a word that you are not sure what it means, put it in the comments as well, and we'll work together to like, define it and help each other out. So I will see you over in Key Concept 4.3. Hey, this is High Level History, and I'm Amanda Duemerall. If you're an AP World student, tell me how it's going in the comments below. And for more AP World content and review, be sure to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HighLevHistory.